The Tapestry in Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom is going to show exactly what happens in Age of Imprisonment. More so, it shows the depiction of Princess Zelda, the ancient hero aspect, both fighting off the Calamity with the help of the Sheikah monks, the Sheikah tech, and the original champion stages. How? In this ancient era, Rauru, the Zonai king of the surface, rules the first ever kingdom of the surface named Hyrule with his wife Sonia. His older sister Minaru rules the depths underground, in charge of the robots, the spirit tech, and overall just the guardian of spirits underground. She rules not alone. Minaru, just like Rauru on the surface, has her own army and support. While Rauru has more or less warriors to always be at the guard to protect himself and his wife, in the same retrospect, Minaru also has an entire army. One of monks, one that know technology, and one that are closely aligned with not just time, but also spirits. The reason to believe this is not only with the design works of the eye symbol that shows up on the Spirit Temple, on the Dragon Head Isles, and even every single one of the constructs and conflux. Both Minaru and Rauru have a third eye in the middle of their forehead, and what's more, whether it's a tuft of fur or a birthmark, it droops down under the eye onto their noses, becoming a tear. The connection I am going to present to you guys is the Zonai and the Sheikah were very closely connected, and because of this, the depiction of what we see on the Tapestry is what happens in the upcoming Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. A good starting point is going all the way back to the beginning. Sometime after the creation of everything and the sealing of the ultimate evil, Null, there was a time of peace when the goddess Hylia walked the earth. She had her favorite people she saw, her devout followers, the humans, who would eventually turn into Hylians, and their protectors, the Sheikah. The Sheikah were a highly advanced tribe, and not only in the ways of protecting these humans from any ill will that may fall them, and not only are they skilled with battle and much more, it is believed that they were responsible for making robots. These ancient robots would run on an electrical current and also spirit magic. Inside each of these robots housed a soul that would live on after it died. This soul would not be enough to fuel said robot, but would be responsible for at least half of the robot's being. During the time that the Demon King demise first emerged, before the battle of him and Hylia, Hylia would take a crop of land and send it skyward. This landmass would become Skyloft, and the surrounding little chunks of land that also went up to the sky would be the Sky Islands of the ancient past. The remaining humans that did not get saved and sent to the sky were either slaughtered or had to result into going into hiding. More than likely, they went into hiding underground with the Sheikah. We're led to believe this because of events that happened between the ancient past and the events of Skyward Sword. some structures look like they had some upkeep in the different regions. Some of the robots are able to continue on, even after death. And after all this time, it seems like there was some upkeep on the surface, almost as if there was still a faction of Sheikah and humans in hiding underground. What's more is we can believe that the Gorons were also originated from underground. We don't see many Gorons in Skyward Sword, but it is presumed that there's more than the ones we see in the game, leading to believe that there's an entire underground civilization of Gorons. This is where I introduce Gorondia, also known as the Ocarina of Time Fire Temple. Yes, one and the same, also known as the Goron Mines from Twilight Princess. And before you ask, isn't it the Fire Sanctuary or Earth Temple from Skyward Sword? No. The time from Skyward Sword all the way to Tears of the Kingdom would mean that the ruins of these two great structures, a Fire Sanctuary and Earth Temple, on the Elden Mountains have sadly crumbled. But what is left is Gorondia, the Fire Temple and Goron Mines of old. The reason I bring this up is that is not the only structure of old that has survived. If these humans and Sheikah went into hiding during the Era of Demise, until the Hero of Sky stopped him, these humans and Sheikah would be hiding underground, maybe even spread out, making their own little factions and camps and sites, like mines, or even temples and arenas, having an entire civilization in hiding underground. And what comes with civilization? Religion. The most likely possible culprit of a religious sect of these ancient humans, Sheikah, and dwellers of the underground, could very well be led to the Bargner statues. The following clip is from our good friend, The Dream Shrine, on YouTube.
Did you know that the pedestal from the Sheikah shrines in Breath of the Wild are the same size as the pedestal in front of the Bargainer statues? Upon closer inspection, the eye of the Sheikah shrines even lines up perfectly with the larger circle on the Bargainer as well. The eye of the Sheikah shrines even lines up perfectly with the larger circle on the Bargainer as well.
If these humans and Sheikah went into hiding during the Era of Demise, until the Hero of Sky stopped him, of a religious sect of these ancient humans, Sheikah, and dwellers of the underground, could very well be led to the Bargner statues.
When your Zonai ancestors first descended upon these lands long, long ago, they must have seemed to be gods.
The eye of the Sheikah shrines even lines up perfectly with the larger circle on the Bargainer as well.
To talk about the Bargainers and a connection between the Sheikah, the Zonai, the Ancient Era, and more, I went ahead and asked my good friend, the Larulian historian, for some insights, help, and some live theory crafting. The following is from what we've talked about in full. And with me right now is our very special guest, a good friend of mine, and someone I like to call my own brother, the very one and only Larulian historian, LH. What's up, my dude?
Hey, hey, hey.
So I
Thank you for having me.
No, well, very much welcome to have you, my guy, on this amazing collab that we got going on today. I obviously got a couple of questions pertaining this theory that we've been talking about for a while, and it's been something you and I and the circles have been talking about for even longer than this game's been out, to be honest. So the big thing is, when it comes to the Zonai, and I would ask you, like I would ask Zoey, who's our good friend, Magic Pixie Dream Shrine, and our good friend Dan Man, anything that comes to like Zelda knowledge, and like when it comes to translations and stuff, like I'm obviously going to ask you guys because like I don't know Japanese and I can't really afford the books. So based on my knowledge from the games, I want to ask you, when it comes to the Zonai, who would you classify those people as? Like hardcore?
Okay, so the Zonai, the mysterious race, they are the closest race to the gods, and they are the ones who worship the goddess Hylia.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that sounds familiar, there's a reason. If you think back to Skyward Sword, the earliest tale in the chronology, the chosen people of Hylia, the humans, all have long ears. They live up in the sky. Zelda, the reincarnated mortal form of the goddess Hylia, is born among them. They're the sky people. They're the humans. Skyloftians, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
There's a few different names for them. Those people are the root stock that give rise to the Zonai,
Yeah.
and to the Hylians. The Hylians, of course, being the descendants of the mortal incarnation of Hylia, so Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the rest who stayed up in the sky, because they didn't all come down, continued to prosper and develop and grow up there, isolated. And the result of that is what we now see as Rauru and Minoru and the Zonai as a whole.
When Hylia saves the humans, sends them up to the sky to become Skyloftians, we have the humans that are dead or put into the army, and then we have the humans underground and hiding with the Sheikah. The Sheikah still need to see what's going on with the surface. Gossip stones.
And gossip stones, definitely, yeah, because they are used for spying.
Mm-hmm. And what would happen if you hit a gossip stone with a bomb?
They rocket.
Uh-huh. You could possibly send information from the underground survivors to the sky survivors one way or another.
Interesting. Yeah.
And-
I could see that. Yeah, because they just go they rocket right up into the sky, and you lose sight of them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And now the other part I want to link up to this, no pun intended. If these bargainer statues are just other forms of the goddess Hylia, wouldn't it make sense in a Occam's razor, or to quote The Daily Show?
Well, okay. Let me offer one possible theory. Perhaps you've heard of Occam's razor. It's the idea that the most simple explanation is probably the correct one. In the case of
OI, the Tapestry.
let's call our theory Occam's giant f***ing machete.
So Occam's giant effing machete to just say, yeah, like, if the bargainer statues are effigies of Hylia, it's because the Sheikah know Hylia gave up her divinity. She's now gone. But she could still contact her followers, whether it's the goddess statues or the 7 bargainers underneath these 7 specific goddess statues in particular.
Maybe. Although I see them more like the way the Sheikah and the Hylians are themselves. You know, the Sheikah are considered the shadows
Right.
of the Hylians, right?
Right.
So it's like the interlopers, the two sides of the same coin.
Mm-hmm.
So you have the goddess of life, and then you have the bargainer, who's more like the god of death. 'Cause
Bingo.
He deals with the afterlife, right?
Bingo, and that's the key right there. Not only like how our good friend Zoe said that the eye lines up directly with the biggest circle in the middle of the bargainer's forehead, But you also got to take in this aspect of light and dark are two sides of one coin, but at the very middle of that coin is shadow. And the Sheikah are the guardians of what element at that point? Knowing what happened with the Interloper War, they find out about what happened and they learn. So they see it as a foretelling to come. Let's make something like, let's make a militarized army of battle tanks that run on a spiritual hive mind. Let's make these giant mechanical behemoths and these lookout towers and these... Let's overextend our tech to protect ourselves from one more scenario. And in this moment, a kingdom is birthed by a young Zonai king named Rauru. To further make sure this kingdom is protected, the underground depths is ruled by this young king's older sister, Minaru. But Minaru is not inherently the sole ruler of these depths, because she had to be introduced to these depths. You want to take a guess who that person could be?
I'm gonna hazard a guess and say a Sheikah.
Yes, it would be the Sheikah that is the architect, the designer of the of literally the divine beasts themselves. We have Monk Maz Koshia, and to even further seal this deal, Monk Maz Koshia is stationed within the crust, between the surface and between the depths. His dojo or sanctum is a amalgamation of dark and light, which makes shadow. His home would literally be sandwiched between Rauru's and Minaru's. Now Minaru, who's like this descendant of these ancient Zonai who learned about the spirit transfers and spirit detachments, is the only one left, because Maz Koshia is both a monk and a warrior in the ways of Sheikah. He is the person in charge of all Sheikah that still remain. You could even possibly say, because the Sheikah know so much about time, they may have taught Sonya recall.
Interesting.
Sonya's sound effect of recall. You know how you get the ting, 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 click?
Yes. Oh, I know what you're gonna... Yeah, you did send it to me before.
Isn't it how spooky the Gate of Time aligns with that?
You know, that makes sense too from the other standpoint as well. Whether she learned it from the Sheikah or not, Hylia, the goddess herself, created the Gates of Time. Whether she had help or not, it doesn't really matter. That is canon. She created the gates.
During the time of Hylia all the way up to Skyward Sword, we could presumably believe that only the lead Sheikah of the tribe is allowed to do that, because they're the only one that is the right hand of Hylia. Like, you know, in respect of the Sheikah elder always being the handmaiden / right hand of Zelda.
Like Impa.
Yeah. And
The way Impa is usually her wet nurse or her nursemaid and
bingo.
her adventures. Yeah.
And now, after this great union of Minaru, the eldest of the Zonai, and she works closely with the elder of all Sheikah, Monk Maz Koshia. Because Monk Maz Koshia, who has a tattooed eye of wisdom on his forehead, is working with literally one of Hylia's chosen people directly, who has a third eye in the middle of her forehead and a little bit of fur underneath that looks like a teardrop, he could literally say, as the elder of the Sheikah, everybody that has worked with Minaru, you now shall have the Eye of Wisdom forevermore on your forehead from here on out. And so each of those Sheikah monks get that tattoo.
Get the tattoo, yeah, because they all have a white eye tattoo on their forehead.
Exactly.
That's right.
Now,
all of the monks do.
Now, because of this, we could probably assume that Minaru, Maz Koshia, and the monks now have that connection of spirits and spirit transfer, spirit, extraction, and so on and so forth. If this sounds solid, we could even say that that's where we got our divine beasts from, not because they were warned about Ganondorf, but because they knew a great evil would come again. They already witnessed the Interloper War. They have yet to see the Imprisoning War, but they have the documents and they have the word of mouth from the goddess statues and the bargainer statues, two gods in tandem, saying the Demon King, our third brother, is going to come back in a reincarnated form. So you guys have to make something that's going to stop him. In come Mark III robots, Guardians, Sheikah Tech, the Blue Flame, the Divine Beasts, and so on.
Interesting. I can definitely see the evolution, so to speak, of the technology.
Right. And
so that's yeah.
And now we go into this game. Zelda from the future has now appeared in the ancient past, the first half of the loop. She appears, they say, we're going to get you home. How do you speed up the designs and also the functionality of these projects of the ancient Sheikah? I don't know. Isn't Memory 3 when Zelda and Rauru first meet Minoru and she's like, the Purapad, this is interesting. Can I borrow this for a while? And she borrows it through the entire memory sequence to the very end.
It is quite an interesting device. This is definitely not from this era. That said, I believe there may be a way to get the travel functionality working here. I'd like to tinker with it a bit. Would it be okay if I borrow it?
Yes, whatever you need. I really appreciate your help.
Then I'll hold on to it.
That's true. I was just gonna say that. So, Minoru is holding the Purapad in her hands, and she's like, "This certainly isn't from this era." And then she's like, "Is it all right if I borrow this for a while? I'd like to tinker with it."
Exactly. It's kind of like how Purr and Robbie are like, "Hey, this little egg came and gave us this Sheikah slate, a Sheikah slate," and then all of us fans are like, "Wait, a Sheikah slate? You're confirming there were more than one in that time frame?" Yeah. And then you sit here like, "Okay, wait. So how could you expedite the robots other than the bargainers and this mass group working together of monks and one Zonai elder? How could this Zonai herself be able to speed up this progression other than her spirit transfer?" I don't know, she was holding on to the Purapad. Oh my god, the Sheikah tech exists because of the Purapad. It's literally like
a bootstrap paradox. Yeah,
yep.
It's classic.
Mm-hmm.
It's a classic bootstrap.
It's like they already had the beginning works and designs being worked on, but they had to expedite it, and then they tap into the Purapad, be like, we can make something called the Sheikah slate that looks like this, and then the Purapad's made out of a design that looks like the Sheikah slate. It never ends.
The Purapad is a new piece of technology from Zelda's present.
Yep.
It was built by Purah and Robbie.
Yep.
Because the other Sheikah tech had vanished. It broke down, it disappeared, it was gone.
Yep.
So they had to build new pieces using the knowledge, because they were researchers, right?
Mm-hmm.
They had the knowledge of the tech because they'd been working on it for the last just over 100 years. So they were able to build a new device. They were able to build and sort of scrap together the Skyview towers and some of the other things in the present, and then it comes into the past more than 10,000 years and gets into the hands of Minoru.
That's exactly, and that's the nuts part, because then you think, okay, well, let's say the Purapad was literally the thing that sped up the production of these Guardians, Divine Beasts, and so on and so forth. Is there anything on the Tapestry that could link up to that? No pun intended. Yeah. Right here in the top right corner where they're working on a slate and they're tapped into some kind of stone, and for the longest of times I thought, okay, it's a time shift stone that they're tapping into. No, that could be Zonite, and the Zonite that they're tapping into could be being funneled into the Purapad, and these Sheikah monks, with the help of the Zonai, are making the first Sheikah slate.
Based on the design of the Purapad.
Yep. Through all of this, we now have a robot army, we have 4 divine beasts, We have a princess with her sealing power. I'm not even mentioning how Age of Imprisonment already showed us, like, yeah, the four sages are going to be there, and you're going to see how they get their masks. Oh, cool, the masks that look just like the divine beasts? You're telling me these masks that look just like the divine beasts? And then it makes me think, okay, well, how did the current champions pilot them? Spiritual power, as they wanted to say. Okay.
Yeah.
How would these ancient ones do it? I don't think it would be the same kind of spiritual power, because if it's a Mark 1 with the sages themselves, they'd have some assistance like a mask. Got green being Raru's castle, this big complex. We've got the blue being the Temple of Time with that dip that goes outwards. This orange is the memory of the Moldugar attacking. Da-na-na-da-da. That one. And the reason why
what we can call the Hyrule garrison, because it's where all of the guards were
in that time,
and protecting
on Mount Hylia, yeah. And
yeah,
the reason why I made this is because I did Path of Light, and I was like, that's weird. One of the Sheikah DLC shrines is literally across from Raru's castle, like across the water, overlooking the castle, and it's called Shrine of Light. And it's Sheikah run. But then you have this mystery structure right there.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, okay, well, what if that is the Shrine of Awakening, and then right under here, like underneath this staircase area, I wouldn't say underneath this staircase, but like just south of it, under this ridge, you see where my hand is on the screen?
Yeah, because the Shrine of Resurrection is under there.
Exactly. So you'd have Spring of Revival directly underneath. You got some kind of connection of Zonai-Sheikah 100%. But to even sweeten this deal, Raru's dead, all of this stuff, Ancient Hero wakes up, possessed by the spirit of Sky. At that moment, he's like, something's not right. I gotta go find her. And he goes and finds the fully constructed Master Sword that he put away.
Ooh.
Because he's the one that put it into the Sealed Temple, right?
Yeah.
So...
And it'll have been long enough that, you know...
Mm-hmm.
The Sealed Temple doesn't really exist the way it used to anymore.
Exactly, and since we don't really see Raru's castle much in these memories, who knows? Raru may have been holding on to that sword without even knowing what it was.
Yeah, I mean, it could have just been like not a glorified paperweight, but like, you know, something that's just kind of there and passed down that they don't know the history of.
Oh, thank God,
So
Master Link, you have come to get me again. This guy named Raru has been using me as a paperweight for at least 30 years. But I could see that as well, yeah, like, the Hero of Sky, or the immortal spirit of the hero, that force in particular, takes control of Akka. He pulls the fully made Master Sword from Skyward, because the broken one from the future is yet to show up yet. He pulls it knowing very well we're not done yet. Minoru is alive, but very, very much wounded. Before she passes, she has to give what she knows to Mazkoshia, and Mazkoshia gives her the Sheikah Slate. He directs all of the monks to find Akka and get the beast to the sages.
Okay.
The reason is everybody's now in position because the air grows very still. The sky goes from a bright yellow to a dark reddish black, and the earth begins to tremble. You now pan over to Ganondorf's corpse underground with Raru's corpse still holding him on. But Ganondorf's not dead. He's just sealed. But the malice has been leaking out. And I feel like for the first incursion of the Calamity, it wouldn't take 10,000 years. I feel like with knowing how Ganondorf is mentally, physically, and in all aspects from A to Z, he wouldn't wait 10,000 years for that first attack. He'd wait maybe 24 hours, 48 hours for everyone to catch their breath, and then be like, surprise, look at what I got now. Because he already controls the moon at that point, too.
Yeah.
So if he controls the moon, he could technically make his first Calamity form, which brings me full circle back to our original point. Age of Imprisonment very well could show between Memories 14, Ganondorf sealing Raru's death, and Memories 15, the Master Sword of the Future showing up. The Tapestry could be between those two.
Potentially, I could see the potential for sure. Like story-wise, it's like there's a lot of things that would be like a lot of points that, you know, make more sense being, you know, A plus B equals C instead of just like a coincidence. There's only one thing that I can see being a potential issue, and it's the castle.
No, I'm not gonna lie, you're on the nose, because there's that slab in... Yeah. That was...
What does the slab say?
That...
I actually have a quote. I have the quote. I can bring it up right now.
Send it.
So, this is the Royal Ancient. The Royal Passageway.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Royal Hidden Passageway, Tears of the Kingdom. Okay, so... Deep beneath this land, our mighty first ruler imprisoned the Demon King. To ensure the king's magic would hold, we erected a castle to protect this sacred site. Without the castle in place, the site may be disturbed, allowing the Demon King's hatred and rage to be revived. The preservation of this castle is therefore tied to the prosperity of the kingdom. May it watch over an eternal peace.
I know how we can actually make this work, and how it's involved with the tapestry and everything we've talked about so far. Minoru knows the Sheikah. Zelda's from the future and is of Hylian descent and of the royal bloodline. Before Ganondorf makes this calamity happen, this very first one in which the tapestry is depicted, we could very well see Zelda ask, like, the Sheikah, did you find anything in that perp? Yes, we did. And those pillars around the area where you sealed him underground, we are currently constructing that. Okay, cool. How fast can you start on making a castle on top of that? Not too far along. We could probably get that done soon. And realistically, I'm thinking that could work. The Sheikah making that tech is supposed to assist with his sealing at that point, because those pillars around the castle. But Zelda, being the future, you know, ruler of said kingdom, could be helping the Sheikah and the humans and Hylians of the surface, like, we're going to put these Hylians in charge because they're eventually going to make me. In thus doing so, after Zelda has helped with the events in the tapestry and the sealing, she turns into the immortal dragon. Everybody witnesses that. The tapestry is then made. But the what do you call it? The slabs underneath the castle in the Forgotten Foundation, those were being made like during Memory 15, which would be after the events in the tapestry, and literally, like, the ancient hero goes to rest again. He puts the fully restored Master Sword he pulled and put away, and then pulled again, and now put away again, so then the Hero of Time can pull it in the future. Zelda now has the broken Master Sword of her era show up, swallows her stone, becomes the immortal dragon. Everybody who witnesses this now makes the tapestry showing, hey, this is what happened in the ancient past, and this is what's going to happen in the future. And then you see at the bottom the Sheikah running away from Hylian knights, That's because those are the corrupted Sheikah warriors of the surface that served Rauru. They become the Yiga. All of the other Sheikahs are monks, and they were safe within their shrines. The Bargainers, the Sheikah, the Zonai, and a connection to spirits. This may all seem convoluted to some, but to some of you as well, this might be a no-brainer. This might have actually been in front of our faces and we never knew. So with one last thing, I'd like to share something from The Daily Show about this topic.
Well, okay. Let me offer one possible theory. Perhaps you've heard of Occam's razor. It's the idea that the most simple explanation is probably the correct one. In the case of
the Tapestry,
let's call our theory Occam's giant f***ing machete.
Thank you, everybody, once again for tuning in and watching this theory of a follow-up of a trailer analysis theory with my good special guest, Lorulian historian, and our good friend, Zoey, the Dream Shrine. Please check out both of them on YouTube. And you can catch the entire conversation LH and I had here in this video, where we go even deeper into a conversation about the Sheikah, the Zonai, the Bargainers, and the connection between them all. And the links to all of their good stuffs is going to be in the description as well. I've been Oaf, here at OG Oaf Gaming. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.